people from Roseville, they were from Macomb County, they were
Yeah.
from Oakland County. They would come in for the jury for me. And they said, what do you know about Kwame Kilpatrick? I'm talking about 10, 11 people. Say, I've never really heard much about him.
Yeah, right.
10 years in the news. You never
Yeah,
heard anything?
right.
No, I know he was a mayor or something in Detroit. They
Stop
would be
it.
looking confused. I'd be sitting there like, wow, y'all, come on
Stop.
now. They couldn't
Come
wait to
on,
get in
man.
there and kill me, cook him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they had to act like it was, no, I haven't really, are you willing to be fair? Yes, because I don't really know anything about him.
Come on.
That's what the jury is going to have to say about Donald Trump. Do you
Yeah.
feel one way? Do you have a bias one way or another about Donald Trump? No, I think he had some good policies. But I think he was harsh sometimes, but he had some good policies.
Yeah.
So I don't really have an agenda or any. They're going to come in there and try to figure out that's a lie from the very pit of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know how you do it in America. Our system is severely and
It
significantly
is.
flawed.
It is. Do you think he's gonna win? If they said, listen, you got to put every dime that you gonna make in the next 10 years on this election, what would you have to bet? What would you bet? You would bet that he would win or that he would lose this upcoming election?
One caveat: if he makes it to the election,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to win.
Yeah, I think so.
Is no question about it. I think the rush now and all of the denying of all the appellate, motions that they're having to be able to extend decisions and everything else, they're failing.
Yep.
They're trying to rush this to trial, and it's very interesting that if and they got the state case and you got to get this. They got a state case and a Fed case.
Yeah.
That's intentional, just like R. Kelly.
Yeah.
They want to get the state and the Fed. So just in case he
yeah.
gets convicted in the federal courts
Yep.
and he can actually get a pardon before, he can pardon himself before he can go to trial.
Yeah.
He can't do nothing with the state case. The state case is beyond his jurisdiction.
Okay.
So if he's convicted there, and legal scholars, political scholars, how does that even look? You have a conviction of a sitting president in a state that
I don't even know.
We don't even know yet.
So we in uncharted territory.
Yeah, he
then.
can't. That governor can give him a pardon, but will that governor give the president a pardon? If the governor is Gretchen Whitmer, does she pardon him if he's
Nope.
convicted in Michigan?
Nope.
So we have to, and then New York either. So we have to figure out how this even look, and I believe that will be a primary discussion. You got the big dude, the former governor and G-man from
Yeah.
New Jersey.
Yep.
He's on every debate saying, "How can you have?" He's going.
What's his name? Chris Christie. Yeah.
Every time,
Yeah.
how he's trying to stay out of jail. How could you, and that's the thing that they're going to plant because if he gets through this primary period, you got all these people suing to get him off the ballot now
Yep.
because they're scared.
Yeah.
They're scared. If it comes to Michigan and other states, they know, like you said, there's black men especially. They see something that people don't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
I
see
agree.
the unfairness, they see the bias, but they also see that America needs this.
Yeah. I've evolved personally. Because when he first started, when he first nominated himself to become president of the United States, or he started running to become president of the United States the very first time, I didn't take it seriously because I thought that it was just an opportunity for him to market himself. But somehow, some way, it resonated with the people, and it just became a movement, and it was just an unstoppable movement. And I was like, man, this is crazy. It was the craziest thing that I had ever seen in my entire life. So it's really interesting how this is playing out.
7,000 plus men left prison on the First Step Act.
Really?
Yeah. So when people bring up the Obama commutations, which were remarkable and a record, over 1,200 people left prison on commutations from Obama, where they didn't leave. They either got sentence reductions. People went from life to 30, life to 25,
Yeah.
25 to 12. And so most of those people are either out or about to get out now. It was remarkable. But what they haven't seen commercials on is the successful passage of the First Step Act. Now, the people right now watching are going to say, but Barack Obama sponsored the legislation. He wrote it and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. But he didn't put the force of his office behind it to pass it
Yeah.
because the politics told him to slow down. And he couldn't get the Republicans to vote for it. So when Donald Trump came in and got the Republicans to vote for it, people say that's because they're a Republican. Well, what criminal justice legislation has moved right now since the Democrats been in charge?
Yeah, that's true.
None.
That is true.
And so when people are trying to dice things up to make it sound good, you need somebody that can get the Republicans to move.
Yeah.
And if that can be a Democratic president, so be it. But we are so tiddlywinks and kumbaya-ish when it comes to politics. No other ethnic community or interest group is. Jews, Asians, Mexicans, gay, the insurance lobby. It's about who is the best person to push the agenda that we need for our community or our interests. And so we are so fascinated by emotional attachment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to like a person to know he can help me.
Yeah.
And now you're getting more and more into business. You don't need to like if you.
Oh, I don't care nothing about that.
No. If you're going to develop a business, or a building, if you're building a building, if you're building a skyscraper, you don't care if you don't like the construction. Is he good? Does he stay within the budget?
Yeah.
Is he hard nosed? What has he built before?
Yep.
I gotta like him. I like that. I watch guys in different ethnic communities. When I was mayor, hate and despise each other. He's a butthole. I mean, they're flying all kind of cuss words. I can't stand him. If you ever met his wife and I'm in the room, and then they say something like this, man, we just did a $50 million deal, and you know that guy was late to the million eating. I said, wait a minute, hold on. This guy that you've been talking about for 5 whole minutes, y'all did a $50 million deal today? Oh, yeah. He's, wow. He's a great lawyer. He's just a butthole.
Yeah.
Wow. I learned over those years of Lansing and in Detroit that we got this all wrong.
Yeah.
We need to be backing the person. I don't care who it is. If it's Biden, let's talk about it. If it's Trump, let's talk about it. If it's one of these other people talking about running, we need to have a serious conversation about what is our agenda, what are we expecting to get out of it, and who's going to be more inclined to help us from an entrepreneurial and business perspective, not just with programs.
That's pretty interesting.
We don't want to be better slaves.
No, it's interesting that you say that, right? Because, you know, you had the UAW strikes, and they still striking out there for the casinos or whatever, but the UAW strikes as far as Ford, Chrysler, and GM. Now, obviously, I think it had lasted for a little over 40 days or something like that before they relented, and doesn't seem like anybody was really happy about it because now, as of today, as of the recording of this video, it only passed by a relatively small margin, even over at GM, as far as the people that voted for it and they agreed with it at like 50-something% to 40-something%, right? But then throughout that process, obviously you've seen Biden fly to Michigan and then stand over there on the picket lines and say, yeah, you know, we support the unions or whatever like that. What do you think about the job that he's doing and his ability to really galvanize people to get behind him, even to the point of endorsements from the UAW? They haven't officially endorsed him as president of the United States. What do you think about, A, the job that he's done so far, and then B, the general sentiment from the people towards him, considering whether or not he markets himself that well or not?
I think that Joe Biden has become one of the greatest politicians ever. Let me tell you what I mean by that. This is a man who was a radically conservative Democrat. You know, friend to the Southern Democrats that were extremely racist, into anti-busing. I mean, fathered and authored the most draconian, abusive criminal justice bill in the history of America. I had 3 cellies locked up on the Biden crime bill with life sentences. 2 of them we were able to get out by the grace of God. One of them is still languishing in prison right now. And then he was able to remake himself to be the white conservative to Barack Obama. The older white conservative to Barack Obama. And then after Obama leaves, then he remakes himself as the kinder, gentler, liberal white guy. I've never seen anything before like this in my life.
A lot of people are not familiar with his history because a lot of the voters or a lot of the people that are visible as far as social media or having conversations, because you got to remember, Cardi B's was interviewing him, right? And all of this other type of stuff. They weren't even alive, or they weren't even old enough to even be able to understand exactly what his politics were prior to him coming into prominence in the social media era with Barack Obama, right?